So let's take a look at what are we doing today. We are it is time for us to make the foliage. So if we take a look at our game, we've got ourselves to the point where we now have our trees. All these trees are being drawn with one draw. So basically we have on the screen right now, 1, 2, 3 draws happening for this. Hey, Stacking, good morning. And so we're going to add a fourth draw, so which is going to be our foliage. So we want this, it's going to be basically a sine wave that comes across over the trees and covers most of the branches. So you can sort of like see them sticking up into the trees, but then that's kind of going to be it. We can use a sine wave for that. We've actually already created them. So if we look at the foliage, we actually have how we did it. So what did we do for this? Awesome. Okay, so Stacking, you don't think you'll stick around today? Just stopping by to say happy read only Friday. Yes. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hi. I hope that you have a great Friday and weekend. Right, so we basically go through all of our foliage points. Okay, so they're creating these points. Oh, okay, I see. So basically, we're using the polyline to draw the entire thing as a single draw. But I'm wondering if maybe it would be easier to do rectangles to draw this, but instead of multiple draws with it, we create just a single mesh for that. So I think this might be a little bit easier. Let's see if we can end up how that might end up working. So to begin with, I'm thinking that I might want to just get something up on a screen, so that way I can start drawing something. Which means, yeah, we're gonna have our draw system for like the foliage draw system, because it's gonna be a game object that gets thrown onto the screen. So in our image, in images, let's go ahead and add a new one here. So we're gonna do a pub foliage. Is it foliage? I think it's that. You're gonna be a mesh. And we'll have another function like this. So function create foliage. You won't take in self because we'll have this happen at creation time. And we'll return. Okay, we're going to need the same thing we've taken here, the context and the config. And we'll return a game result with a mesh inside. If I just want to create a just pretty standard rectangle right now, that would look like we're going to return a game to a mesh builder. Rectangle. Okay, draw mode filled. Bounds is rect new. 0.0, 0.0. Width is config.resolution x, and height can maybe be like somewhere around the middle. It doesn't really matter right now, so we can say like we'll want to do the actual calculation of where this starts. And we're also going to want to like probably multiply this by the by like the sine wave. And I think we can get sine from like F32, because I think that's off of F32, like the primitive, like the struct F32. So, because I don't think I can do sine like that. I have to do like F32 sine. Yeah, computes the sine of a number. Okay, so I get a number in radians. Okay, so I have to give it a number, and they'll let me know what the sine is for that. And so my step amount is going to be unknown. I don't know how much I want to step by. It could be like really tiny points or really large if I want like to suddenly jump up a lot or be very smooth. If we figure out what that start is, well, okay, we know we need to figure out what our start x is, our start y is going to be. So let y equals that's going to be the entire buildup. So config dot the resolution y minus config dot that's the bedrock height, cave height. Let's see, what else? What else do we have? Why are you not showing me everything? Config dot. There we go. Then the ground height, surface height, and then the tree height. Okay, that's probably where we're gonna start here. And then we'll have some number, so probably 0. So we can just do that, like our sine step equals 0.0. And we'll do a sine. Okay, so it's gonna be y plus the sine step dot sine. And I think we're gonna have to multiply that by config dot foliage step vertical. Yeah, I think that's how much it's being multiplied to like go up and down. And then our color. Our foliage color. Then we'll build this and return the result. So what we want to do is create a whole bunch of rectangles. Now, what are you upset about? We must specify the type of float you are. You are an F32. All right. Then we need to actually create the thing. So foliage is self create foliage, context, config, and there we go. Okay, so now we have foliage, hopefully. And we can now draw this out in our draw system. So let's go create that. All right, so our draw system, it's pretty much going to be empty, isn't it? The only thing we're going to really care about here, and I realized that when you don't do testing, it's really hard to like get back into it. So even if like I'm not sure that I need the testing, I'm going to set up the section for it. Okay, so right now this could be a CI test, create foliage system. All right, so this is gonna be a let foliage system, which is gonna be a type foliage draw system equals foliage draw system nuke. And I don't think we need to pass anything in here. I think that'll just work. I'm not even sure if we're gonna need if we need anything about this. So to make this catch here, mod draw system. Okay, there we go. Now you're upset with us. Okay, so pub struct foliage draw system. We don't have anything that we care about this right now, so implement this draw system, new, return myself, and we just return self. Okay, so that will make you happy. Okay, let's see. Once we've created that, we want to implement the draw for it. So implement draw system for once we implement that, we missing members. Okay, so we're just gonna draw out the foliage. So we're just gonna do context, a reference to the images dot foliage, and then the draw params. And I don't think we need to give it any new ones because it already knows exactly where it is. So it's a very simple draw system here. Okay, then what I want to do is actually create the game object and store this in. So in our game objects, no, it's not the game objects, it's the main scene. In main scene, we're now wanting to test function. I'm guessing, oh, look at this. Context, we can't have CI. That can't be a CI test. Because if I create a main scene, I have to have a context. So that's why these can't be. That's why I have to do all these. We have to have the images. We have to have the main scene. Okay. Okay, so test. Creating This is test creating for the main scene the what was it? The foliage game object. Foliage game object. And now is this true? Because we have this entire background draw system. We have, you know, we have background here. Do I just want the background draw system to draw these out? Maybe, because all these things are going to be behind the player, and that's okay. And they can control when the trees get drawn too. And we can have the background draw system also update the trees, like when the tree gets reset. I think that might end up working. Okay, let's... What that means is we don't actually need a foliage draw system here. So I can delete you. In our background draw system, in our draw, so we draw all the ground. I kind of want to rip the trees out of their own draw system. And then also put those here. And then the foliage. So let me put the foliage first. So you'll just come here. Draw context, grounds. Okay, so instead of ground sprite batch, you're going to be... Oh, the dryable isn't stored. Okay, so yeah, it's not this right batch. It's going to be this images. Which you can't be underlined anymore. Images.foliage, and then just that. That should be fine. Then, in mods, okay, we save you. In main scene, we don't need you anymore. I think this should make it draw now. There it is. Okay, so there's our foliage. It's behind the trees, but we can fix that right now, actually. So we can actually... This entire tree system where we're just drawing the trees out, completely useless to us. We don't actually need this. We can delete you. And that means also in the main scene, we don't want to have to do anything in the main scene for this. We have this create trees, and it's creating a tree draw system. And so I kind of want to just get rid of this. We don't need you. We don't need you, and we're not going to push trees in here. The heart should be fine. In fact, the hearts need to happen after the background. Okay, so that means now in the background draw system, in here, we'll do another clone. Images.trees. And that'll be exactly the same. So now, if we run this, we should have our trees behind the foliage. Exactly like this. So now we want our foliage to just go up and down for each of these. And it's just a full long, happy Friday, Chantilly. It's just a full long rectangle for right now, but it's not necessarily helpful for us. So I believe in our config, we have a foliage. Foliage points, and that's how many points we're gonna have across. And what is our, well, what have we set to that? Chantilly, you're deemed change the music station. Let's take a look at that. As the brand new Pitfall application too. So let's see. What should we do? Right now in Pitfall, so it's just everything. We can do lo-fi. They got new stations. Oh, my battery is low. Well, hopefully it won't die before the end of the stream. And then I'll charge it up overnight. Okay. Or while I'm working. Let's see. What was I looking at? We were looking at the foliage. Okay, so foliage points, 25 points, and that should be fine here. And foliage step vertical, like, yeah, that's gonna be, the sign number, I believe, is number between 0 and 1. So we're gonna multiply that by 15, and that's gonna make it go up and down by a certain amount. We notice that it's not like crazy where the position is right now. We might want to increase this number. We might not want to. It depends. Like, I'm not exactly sure where 0 is on sign, but 25 is. So we want to take the entire width of the screen, divide it by the foliage points. So I'm going to come back down here to images. So when we're creating the foliage, we also want to get mute. Utsby, hello! It's foliage. Oh man, well, thank you for that. I am terrible at pronunciating, apparently. Thank you, Utsby. All right, so we want this to be our horizontal step. Faux, like dough. Foliage. Oh, okay. Interesting. I've been mispronunciating that my entire life. Foliage. Okay. That's gonna take me a while to get used to. Thank you, Utsby. All right, so I want my horizontal steps. Is it tile? Steps. Horizontal steps, like the width, maybe like section width would maybe be more appropriate. Section width, this is going to be equal to our config.resolution x divided by config.foliage. Not oh my gosh. Foliage points. That's what it was. Okay, so that gives us, and then we need to make you as an F32. Okay, so that gives us an F32 for this. You don't really need to be mutable, do you? Then if we make this first one, our width is actually going to be our section width. Let's mispronounce things so Utsby can correct me. Sounds like a wonderful stream. Can have a buzzer that when I mispronounce something, somebody can like, I don't know, like donate 100 bits to just cover, like make the room go into alarm mode and like buzzing at me. I know, and I am saying it a lot. But thank you. I do like to learn. So that is good. Please do correct me so that I could not go around saying this incorrect apparently forever, and only you are willing to tell me that I've been wrong. So thank you for that. All right, so we have our section width, and then here, this is going to be the step that we have. It's a common pronunciation, like nuclear. It is funny how easy it is to just fall into a pronunciation pattern and not really like think about it at all. This doesn't actually feel like, this feels pretty wide. But I can also see 25 of these across. I might want to like make that half of it. But for the purpose of what we have here, it shouldn't really matter. We can play with the config once we've set this up. Okay, so then I want to loop through the number of these steps that we're going to do, which we have them as the foliage points, and then add in the rectangle. So then we're going to do let mute mesh equals, and then this can be our mesh builder new. We'll do our for loop. So for count in 0 ... This is going to be our config.foliage points. And then for each of these, we're going to add in our rectangle. So mesh equals mesh.rectangle, give it a draw mode here. Okay, for the X position, this is going to be, since we're starting at 0, this will just be the count times the section width. You'll need to be as F32. Our Y will always be 0. Our section width will always be the section width. And the height will be this. And then our color, U, like that. So you go into the mesh, we end the for loop, and then we return mesh.build. Okay, no errors. Let's try this. That seems to be very not steppy. I mean, it is going across the entire screen, so there is that. Now what I'm doing is sign step. Well, that's because our sign step needs to increase, doesn't it? With every single one of these, we need to, let's make this at the end. Make you mutable. So sign step plus equals 0.01. Let's try that. See if that changes. It's maybe a little bit too small. We can also make you. What if instead of like sign step, what if we tried to use our count? I don't know. I kind of like having this be separate here, so that way I can control this separately. So line step plus equals, let's try just 1.0 change. That should be significant enough for us to actually see a difference. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. Now, so this is just a single draw now because it's just a single mesh instead of a draw for all of them. And that means we should be able to put increase the number of points without having to increase the complexity of the draw. So where is that? Config.json, our foliage points. Let's do 50. There, and I think that looks pretty good. And that gives us a foliage. And of course, we can still run around in front of these trees. And I think that's going to be it now. We've turned off the map abilities because we don't need that anymore. So we're back to where we were before. All right, let's go ahead and get this cleaned up. Created foliage. Is it? Am I also misspelling it too? Or is it still foliage like that? Created foliage on top of the tree trunks and branches. Spelling is correct. Spelling like it said. All right. Let's go ahead and fix these warnings. All right, so we never create tree, so we don't need a type of a tree anymore because we just have type background. Associated functions never used. Right, is off screen right and is off screen left. Is never being used for right now. And that get first game object by type. We're not needing that right this second either. Okay. So I think we're good to push this up. And named up warnings. And I also want to check to make sure that if I do cargo test, CI test, that we don't get any flashies. We do. So there's some CI tests that create a context. And we need to fix that, otherwise we're never gonna be able to merge this in because we won't be able to create the context inside of GitHub Actions. So here's a list of all the tests that claim that they're CI tests. Now I see this one, main scene. CI test in main scene. That needs a context, so you should not be there. Let's try this again. There we go. No flashies. We should be good now. Okay, so we can go ahead and push that up, and we can also pull request this into main. The big thing here is we removed a ton of draws, which should increase performance and also give us some breathing room when adding more draws in the future. Like, for example, alligators or some other creatures. All right, let's go ahead and go check that out. Do I even have my browser open? I do not. So this is going to be running for a little while. Let's think about what the next thing that we want to do is. I want to now move through the map again. So we need to be aware when we're off the screen and reset ourselves. So we already have those functions in the main screen and the main scene to be able to do that. Actually, those functions are in game object. So main scene can call them in the game object and basically said, hey, are we off the screen? Good morning, Arctic Space Fox. Oh, interesting. That is a crazy autocomplete that he got. How are you doing today? You just turned it off. Yeah, so when the player goes off screen, there's a couple things that we want to do. We want to reset the trees, and that's going to be telling the images to recreate the tree mesh. But then everything else should be fine then, because it's going to use that same mesh to just draw out all the time. So that will just reset for ourselves. Then I want to, if there's a pit in the map, draw that pit out. And so right now in our map, And if we take a look at, see, you're still not done. We have something like this. Pit, like the number of pits to have. It also makes me wonder, should we change how we do the map? Because we could change this up now that we're sort of like moving away from the map struct. If I change this up to something like this, we would want maybe an array of arrays, and then we can have like pits, like pits 1, and then maybe like, so we start with nothing in the room, so it's just it's an empty screen, then 1 pit, and then we could have something like pits 3. And the idea here is I want to be able to control that, like, we can't have 2 pits. It's 3 pits. And this also means I don't have to, like, when I create a new map, I just add in the elements that I want in that screen. I don't have to constantly go in and say, well, oh, pit 0, like copy that in. Oh, I decided to add a new element. And that's going to be a lot of fun now that I have to go back to every single screen and add in, oh, I want 0 of them in there. And what I can do is, for 1 pit, that would be 1 mesh. And then for another pit, that would be another mesh. For all the three pits together. And of course, we're only drawing 1 of them at a time because you wouldn't have pits 1 and pits 3 together at the same time. So I think that's where I want to go with this. This is still running, so it hasn't failed right away. So that's a good sign. So yeah, I think we want to get back into like doing the mat and drawing the pit out. So let's go ahead and switch back to the main branch. Okay, we'll stash you back to the main branch. Let's create a new branch off here. I'll pull main in once that pull request goes in. And we're gonna call this adding a pit. Yeah, probably just like adding a pit. Okay, so in adding a pit for this here, let's just change this to be, we have pits 1. So if we have pits 1, that means we're gonna have to change in our mod config. We have, where's our map? Here's our map. It's a vec of config map. So how do I want to do this? I think I might want to do something similar that we're doing here. And we create in the game we can have, oh, the number of pits is 0. Maybe that? Our config map though, right now this is gonna be something very simple. we're essentially having this be a now array of strings. But I do kind of want to turn this into a proper data structure, so it's a lot easier for us to see what exactly we need. I kind of like the idea of this being a config map still. And then we could still have something like the number of pits showing. But it also means that in here, nope, in here, no. In here, we're gonna need starting with create config Serde color. If we go take a look at what these look like, we have a serialize function and a deserialize function. And so we're going to get in the string, parse through that, see if it's that pit 1, pit 3. We then create the data structure of what that's supposed to look like. So that, I don't think that's going to be too terribly hard for us. All right, let's okay, we can merge you in now. So you get merged in. Then I can come back to here, and as soon as, there you go, pull main, and then we're gonna merge main into adding pit. And so we're fully up to date now. Yeah, I kind of like this idea. Hits for this. I kind of want to change this to just be a map as opposed to a config map. Maybe like the game, like, I guess I don't even know if it's like a map, because the map is maybe like screen. In our, I don't have any of them there. Hold on. Where's our config? Config mod. Okay, your screen. Now maybe we'll just call it map. Because the config stores the actual map. So we have screen in the map, like each map, a map of screens. That's really what it is. Okay, so we have a map of screens. And we're gonna have to do those. How do we pull those in again? Create config Serde button. And we're modding Serde button and there. Okay. So inside of map screen, we can also do these serialize and deserialize functions. So I can copy you two, pull you in here. You're obviously going to be super unhappy for for a little bit. When we serialize, our button comes in. This is serializing to the config file, to JSON. So we're going to hand you a map screen. So, and is it really going to be that? It's probably going to be a vec of a screen. Oh, that's what you are. Then we're not gonna have to do any of this, but we're gonna have to do this ser.serialize stir. And that's what's gonna happen with it. So if we have like hits 0, we have to loop through all of these and create a. Now the vector, I think it can handle the vector pretty easily. How do we serialize? Right now this is serializing just a string. Oh, because we could do serialize. Hold on. Ser.serialize. There's a whole bunch of serializes here. Boolean character. Okay, so how about vector? I don't see a vector. Serialize array? Oh, vec is seek. Thank you, Museum. There we go. Okay, so begin to serialize a variably sized sequence. This call must be followed by 0 or more calls to serialize element, and then a call to an end. Okay, perfect. So, I don't need you. Okay, so if we have hits of a U8, and then on top of this screen, we're also going to want... Oh, we need to get out the new... Where's my map? We want to toString this. So we can just call toString on the contents of this. And that would work just fine. And then that would just give us a vector of the I could have a vector of the okay. So when I serialize screen, I want to take in, so let's say we have something like hits 3. I want that to go to an array of hits 3. But if there's more here, so if we have hits and a rope true, then that becomes rope, like that. You could also have a local derived struct and then just my struct vec.serialize ser. A local derived. Oh, so basically, if I could make it so it could figure it out on its own, then I don't have to do my own. I don't have to write all this stuff. So in a function struct derive serialize, Serde transparent my struct lifetime of a vec lifetime reference a stir. Transparent will treat my struct as a vec. Oh, really? So struct of a vec of ABC just becomes ABC. And then, but the way this is going to be used, I don't know if it's exactly the same, because this is going to be a vector of these. Because we're going to have another one that might just be like hits 0 rope false. So, well, I was thinking this would be I was thinking if this would be a screen like screen like this, but I wonder would it make more sense to make this hash maps? I don't know if it makes sense to give hash maps, because then I can't do functions around this, but I'm not sure if I like what functions I need at this point in time. I do know that if I want to have a pit 1, that's going to be a single pit in the center. So I need the main scene to be aware of where we are in the map, in the world, and then display that out. Basically, know to print, to run the draw for the one pit. So if we, in the images, we're definitely going to have a single, like a single pit, like a pit 1 mesh. So we'll have that in images. In the main scene, we'll be aware of where we are in the map. But to do it manually, to have 2 serialized functions, maybe hide the second inside the first. One that does a sequence of my element, and then the one that does my element, which is just a map. Oh, interesting. So you convert it essentially twice. Then there can be like a manual convert. Oh, weird. I need to wrap my brain around that. Or at least like maybe see it first. I'm having trouble like visualizing exactly what that code is going to look like. A vec of enums would work too. Oh, yes. This might be much better as a... Oh, yes. Okay. So if we have all of the elements that we could possibly have. So let's play around in here. So we have our map. I guess like the elements that go on to the screen. Is elements the right word? Features, like maybe the map feature. So if we have something like hub enum feature. And so for example, we have hit. If we have like pit 1, like it's a single pit, and then we have hit 3, and we have rope. These are all the features that we could have in the room. and then it's going to be a vector of these features. We need to serialize and deserialize to a vector of the features. And then what I can do is loop through. So in the main scene, we loop through the current room that we're in and print out all the features, or like create the features and print them out. They're probably already pre-created, so I just need to update. Well, they already have like they're going to be the same location and everything else. They're already going to be pre-created and set up. Maybe we just need to add them into being active in the game objects. With a vec of enums, you could just derive serialize an enum and then tell Serializer to make a vec of them. No custom code required. Okay, I think I like this more. So if we have feature, so hold on, we don't need any of this anymore. So let's do this as like this is a map feature. Maybe we'll call this like a map feature. We need to derive, serialize, and deserialize on here. Serialize, deserialize. We're going to come back into mod for you. So you're going to be a map feature coming out of here. And then with our map, where are you, map? Here you are. You're going to be a vec of map feature. Doesn't implement debug. Okay, we can fix that. Now what? Binary operation cannot be applied. Okay, so we can just do equal, right? Oh shoot, you finished the puzzle for today. Oh, nice, awesome. Yeah, that will make it pit 1 and rope 1, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, so I think, do we need equal? Do we need both of those? Yeah, okay, that's what we need to do. Make it so we can do equal. Then in our actual map here, so instead of pits 1 like this will be pit 1. Or now we can do nothing at all too, which would be fine. There's just nothing in there. We don't need like a none in the in the enum. So given this, we now need to store our current location in the main scene. Okay, so main scene, we need to know where we are right now. And that will happen here. Like previously, we were having the map do that. I think for right now, I want the main scene to take care of that until it becomes obvious that it shouldn't. So create the main scene. We should also assert equal that our current location is equal to the current location that was started, like the initial location in the config. So assert equal main scene dot current screen is going to be equal to config dot start index. That's where. Okay, so we're going to start with you, and you're going to be a usize because you're just an index. And we don't really care about anything else, so you can just go ahead and be created straight in here. So current screen is going to be our config.startIndex. And we should be able to go run that test now. And it should be happy. It is not happy. What happened? Failed on an unwrap call. Line 44. Test create main scene. Line 44. Oh, config.player width. Now, interesting, here instead of up here. Oh, that's line 44 in the JSON. Here, okay. Because it's a vector of vectors. It's actually not. Okay, so it's a vector of vectors like this. And I should be able to okay, path. We're able to load the config now. So now this should be fine. One passed. Okay, so now we have our start index. Thank you, Museum. Then, now that we know exactly where we are in the map, we want to display, like check to see what the features are of the scene that we're in right now, and add in those game objects. I think that's what we need to do, is check to see what the features are and add in the game objects, probably at the beginning. Because that way when we update, if we're moving to another scene, we can say, oh, what were the features that we have, remove them from game objects, and then add new ones back in again. And it shouldn't really matter. Maybe we can keep them in memory somehow. Or just create them over again. It doesn't really matter because we're in the update part of the loop, and we have plenty of time there. It's the draw part of the loop that's killing us. Okay, so, and it's not really, it's just the number of draws that kill us there. So, we want to take a look at our features inside of the current index and add in game objects based upon those features. So I can't add in a game object until I have a draw system for that game object. So that means I need a single pit draw system, which means I need a single pit image. So let's go to the images. So we already know that this is going to be just a plain mesh with it's basically black rectangle. So we can do a function, create, this is just going to be a create one. So create single pit. Create single pit. This won't take self in, but we will need a config and a context. And we're going to turn a game result with a mesh. Creating the actual mesh here shouldn't be a problem. I think we can just do it all in one go. It's going to be... I'm thinking this can also be translated into the appropriate spot as well. Now, is that true? Yes, we can translate it in. Should I have it be like in the exact center or based upon the top left of this mesh? I'm thinking probably the center of the mesh. Because then I can translate that into the center of the what is it called? The center of the surface. Okay. So for us to create single pit, we're gonna do a mesh builder, new dot rectangle. Okay, so where we're starting off with this, I don't want it to be actually 0.0. I want it to be in the middle. So I want the X to actually start to the left by half. So it's going to be essentially 0.0 minus, and then half of the width. And I think we have the width set in the config. So it's going to be config dot hit width divided by 2.0. And I'm pretty sure I can also do this as a parentheses and give a negative inside of it as our X. For the Y, I want to do the exact same thing. So negative, this is going to be the config dot hit height. Oh, is there no pit height? Oh, I have a pit margin. What is our pit margin? Oh, it's like 5. I kind of like the idea of doing a pit height instead of a pit margin. Because then we can say that this is going to be, like, if we know that the surface height is 150, we can make you 130. Okay, so your pit height. Your pit height. And that makes this a little bit easier. Pit height divided by 2.0. Okay, so now that's in a center Y. Then we're going to have our width. Our width is just the full width. So config dot hit width, config dot hit height. And then our color, config dot hit color. And then we build it. Okay, that gives us create single pit. In images, we'll have pub pit 1. Here a mesh. Pit 1 is self. Create single pit. Handed all those. And there we go. Okay, so that gives us this. We can now create a draw system for the single pit. I was gonna say, like, is there anything simple for, like, I don't think there's any really simple draw system for these. Maybe no, because that's still a sprite batch, and the player is like they're all complex. This one's gonna be the most simple of them all. So this is gonna be a hit, like single hit draw system. Now I'm tying this maybe a little bit too close to the code. It's really hard for me to now create new things without creating a full draw system for this. I don't know necessarily how exactly to get away from that yet. That's something that I still want to learn how to do in code here. Okay, so if I do my test, I had like a test setup, but I don't know. Look at that. Test section suddenly shows up. It's not helpful. Come on. What was this? This was, I want a snippet in Rust. Maybe just test section altogether. No? Not gonna do it? Alright, fine. Be that way. Config. Now you do it. You have to be within like something. Interesting. Mod test. Super. That's. You call yours tests, but you should just be able to hit tab even if the pop-up doesn't show. Interesting. It wasn't working for me for some reason. Oh, but maybe I didn't try tab. Maybe I tried return. Oh, that could have been it. Okay. Function. All right. So we want to CI test, create single pit draw system. Right now, this is going to be pretty simple. This is going to be let pit system. Okay, so single pit draw system equals single pit system new. And that should be fine. Okay, so and obviously this will work. We want to implement draw for it. So system or single pit draw system. And in here, all we're going to do is draw the pit in the center of the surface. Well, we should really tie it to the location of where the pit is going to be. So this is going to be a point 2. So I want to draw this based upon the center of the location. And that means we need to know how wide the pit is. Now we have the config here, so we could just grab the width out of here too. But we can also store the width of the pit. I don't know if it matters that much. So I want to draw it, but translate it out by like, because right now it's in the top left corner, all just sort of, you know, hanging out there. We need to translate it down into the center of the surface. When we create the game object, we're going to give it a location here, and that's probably where we should put it, just right in the center of the location. So let's just do that. I think that will work. So we're going to do a D graphics draw config images dot hit 1 and then a draw param new dest location.x location.y. I think this will work and it'll be just fine. So then we want to go back to the main scene. And here, let's say I even ignore like the map. I just want to create the pit and put it in there. So let's do a pit 1 equals, we probably want to create a function for this. I don't have this like creating like an individual test. It's actually creating just a full test section. So I need to add that in. Okay, so function test create. This is going to be the a pit game object. So pit 1 game object. To create the main scene, we need all of this. There's more evidence that we need to refactor out of the main scene the all the logic for creating the game objects. That should go into probably a game object struct on its own. And then this way we can now do let hit 1, which is going to be a type of game object, equals main scene dot create hit 1 and then I think we need to pass in like what do we need to pass in for these? For like create background, config, and images. I don't even know if I need images necessarily. That's going to be passed in during everything else. Let's see. Config, definitely for the width. And the location. So we need the config. And I think we'll have to unwrap it. and that will give us this game object. We're not, this is going to be we can't create the pit. If the pit has to be created like this, again, more evidence that we need to extract this out, then you'd have to be on self. So essentially I don't need main scene to do this. I don't even need images or the context. I just need the config, I believe. So you can be a CI test now again. And so you need to be a main scene, create pit 1, hand it this config, and unwrap it. And we get pit 1 back. So create pit 1. We're going to take in reference to a config. We're going to return a... so we're going to use the game object builder. Okay, so we're going to return this result thing. Then it should be as simple as game object builder new, and then sort of take a look at what do we need here. So for the pit, we know we need a location. So point to new. X and a Y for this. For the X, we know we want this to be in the exact center of the screen. So that's going to be the config.resolution x divided by 2.0. And then I want this in the middle of the height. Because I'm running out of time, I'm just going to make up, I'm going to say like 500.0. I'm going to make up some stuff for this. So give it a width of config.hit width. What else do we have in here? Life system, we don't need anything. Location, we've already given it. Physics system, it doesn't need a physics system. It does need a draw system. So we need to do a pit. I think it was like a single pit draw system new. That's that. Dot. Okay. Life system, location, physics system, width type. Okay, so we need to go into the mod for config. No, the mod for game objects, and give this a hit 1 to match here that's a single pit. This could also be an element, so we can easily remove them. This could be a feature. Okay, so with type, you are a game object type feature. Mig, hello. I am doing great. I am past my time, but this is a lot of fun. We're almost to the point where we can show this off. So that's what I'm trying to get to here before I end the stream. With type that, and then build. What are you upset about? You need to be a box new. That's why. Tigregales, hello. So box new, throw you in there. Okay, so you become happy. Config expected. So reference to you. Single pit draw system. Oh, context. Okay. You're happy there. Then in our main scene, that should work in actually creating the game object. Okay, it does. Then up here, when we create the new game scene, I want to create the pit. So let pit 1 equals self create pit 1, hand it the config, expect error creating pit 1, and then I'll add this underneath the player. Game objects that push hit 1. And I think that means that when we run this, all of our the pit should just show up here. There's our pit. So you can imagine that we're going to translate this down right into the center of here. And then we'll have our pit. We can then use our config.json to set what the width of that is going to be and what the height. But we notice that putting it to the center of the screen width-wise, all the translating works for the draw system. So it's really just when we create the game object, we have to tell it exactly where it goes. And then this will show up right there. And if we create a 3-pit system, then that will go over in these specific objects too. So if we do that, our physics system will have to be aware of where all the three of them are for like collision detection with the player, but we're gonna have to figure that out later. In fact, we're gonna have to figure all of this out later because I have to do an emergency stream shutdown due to the fact that it's 8:37 a.m. and I have sprint. I'm running all of the sprint meetings today because the acting scrum master is on vacation, and that now falls to me. So lots of fun there today. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to ending screen. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by and watching. I think we got pretty far in this. I'm gonna go ahead and push all this code up. We do have a reference to it all at Bang repo. If you want to go take a look, we have been doing all of our work in branches and then pull requesting that in. I won't be back tomorrow because tomorrow is Saturday. I have tomorrow off. I'll be back on Sunday morning sometime. So follow me here on Twitch or follow me on Twitter to get notifications for when I go live on Sunday. And we're going to continue working on this game. So is there with that? Sorry, everybody, I've got to run. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye.